The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, we're going to go over mulches, the good and the bad in your garden, as well as are eggshells good for your garden or a waste of time? Our guest is author Meg Cowden, and we'll answer your garden questions. The hour's full, and it starts right now.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be part of the program. I am your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, and make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. We're happy you're taking time out of your day, whether you're listening to us on one of the 18 AM and FM frequencies across the U.S., broadcasting our program here in 2022 through our parent website, which is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, underneath the Season 6 tab at the top of the page. In-studio video replay, podcast replay, or however you're capturing it, we thank you. If you want to be part of the program, you can certainly do that in a couple of ways. One being, you can send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or if you'd like, if you're the talkie type, you'd like to give us a call, you can do that on the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods. That number, have it ready, have it memorized, toll-free, coast to coast, 1-800-927-SHOW. 1-800-927-7469.
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set is a 12-inch skillet and a stock pot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, the skillet and stock pot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's 2 pans with a versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, then Proclamation Goods is for you. Supply is limited, so order yours now at proclamationgoods.com.
All right. Well, Holly, as we are getting into the summer months and water retention or watering becomes more of a focal point in our gardens, we need to look at ways in which we can conserve water. And that would be one, maybe setting up an irrigation system or using the tree diaper or drip works or a water hoop. But also, if we can water less and keep that water in the soil and keep it moist, that's even a better alternative. And we're going to go over some mulches, which are good, and some that aren't so good when it comes to your edible garden. We're going to focus on the edible landscaping, the edible garden, not so much the perennial or the flower beds, that type of thing, because that can be rocks or pebbles or stones, that type of thing. We're going to work on the garden itself.
Absolutely. So the one I want to address for sure is grass. So that would be grass clippings. And the important thing to remember for grass clippings is you want to make sure that they don't have any weed seeds, because you don't want to add weed seeds to your garden. You want to make sure that those grass clippings are dry. So if you cut the grass, you can just sprinkle those grass clippings maybe on like a patch in your yard or your driveway, let them dry out a bit, and then you can use them. And then you also want to make sure that you haven't sprayed or paid somebody to spray chemicals on your grass that contain 2,4-D. And then that is the...
What is 2,4-D?
2,4-D is a highly persistent broadleaf herbicide. And what it does is it kills off broadleaf plants. And then what happens is that even if you cut the grass, let it dry out, compost it, it is very persistent, so it can remain in your compost. And it can then kill your plants.
It kills off the lamb's quarters, the dandelions, the thistles in the yard to make just the grass to grow. It doesn't kill the grass plant, but it absorbs into the plant itself.
Right.
Another one's straw. Straw can be controversial as well. Is the straw sprayed? Is it not sprayed? Grew up on a farm for 20 some odd years. We never sprayed a single wheat field, which is where our straw came from. There's barley straw and oat straw, but we never sprayed it at all. Now, wherever you get your straw from, you can ask, directly from the farmer is the best. You can ask if it's been sprayed. So I don't have a whole lot on that because we've never and the straw in which we have purchased from our local home and our local garden center, we've never had an issue with at all. Whether we used it for straw bale gardening or we used it as mulch itself, we never had seen any type of situation where something was causing something to happen. We resulted at we found it to be the straw.
If you are concerned, you could figure out where the source is from. But for the most part, like Joyce said, when we bought it from the local garden center, or even just found it free on the side of the road.
After fall festival parties, nativity scenes, that type of thing.
We never have had an issue. So
now you want to use straw, not hay.
Right, that's the key.
Hay is the byproduct, is the grasses in which was baled up for the animal consumption. That contains weed seeds, whether it's thistles or clover or foxtail, whatever. If you bring hay into your garden, you are going to have a yard in your garden because a lot of those plants, clover, all have seeds that are falling into your grass or into your garden.
Right. That is definitely something to keep in mind. So the next one we have is paper.
Well, what about the ink?
Well, I mean, this is really up to you. The ink, I think, is so...
Well, it's soy-based now.
Well, it's soy-based, yes. And it's also just, I don't know, I feel like it's moot at this point.
Of all the other stuff.
Of all the other stuff that could, affect your garden.
That you're sucking into your lungs every day.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you use, air freshener or fabric softener or any of that stuff, those are volatile.
The ink is a welcomed invitation there.
Right.
So shredded paper, whether that's cardboard, which can have toxicity in the glue, any type of shredded paper. Mm-hmm. Stuff you print off, or newspaper that exists some places still. And we've used it. Now, people will say, well, it blows away. What about blowing away? We've never had that issue.
We haven't had the issue, but if you do live in a high wind area, you could water it down, and then that will help kind of compact it a bit and keep it where it is.
Or sprinkle some straw or grass clippings on top of it. Add multiple layers of mulch of different material. Wood chips, whether you get them from your own municipality, you make them your own, you get them from chipdrop.com. It's a great source if done properly.
Right. So wood chips are a great source. Now, you do want to keep in mind you wouldn't necessarily want to keep folding those wood chips into your soil or tilling them in or anything like that. This is maybe you could do, like we have it around our raspberry plant, we have it around our asparagus,
right.
Something more of a perennial.
Getchipdrop.com is the website there. Yeah, the perennial areas. And it will also work for walk paths. Now, something we need to alert everybody, just because you put wood chips down in a perennial bed or walk path, that doesn't mean, no more weeds, unless you put a weed barrier underneath it and then put the wood chips, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of having the wood chips there and breaking down and feeding the soil.
Right, definitely. So you want to keep in mind that you might get weeds, or you will get weeds.
You will. We're not going to lie to you.
They are going to be less. A lot of weeds are going to get smothered out. But wood chips do make an excellent area for a walk path. And again, just around perennials. And they're handy for that.
And in the course of 4, 5, 6 years, they will start breaking down based on the size of the wood chips and start feeding the soil. And then you will have to replenish that area. Some things you want to avoid in the mulch category would be synthetic mulches, rubber tire mulch, cocoa mulch that has a great smell but molds, and felines, I guess dogs more than anything, like to consume it, and that is not healthy for the dogs. It can be fatal for the dogs. So though it's cute and smells great and looks wonderful, it can cause problems for pets and mold later on.
Plus, if you've ever spread cocoa mulch on a hot day, on a humid day, and you're kind of sticky with sweat, that cocoa mulch just sticks to you.
Well, you've never baled hay on a hot, windy day. It's kind of the same thing. And with the rubber tires or rubber synthetic type of, it's going to radiate the heat. It's going to absorb the heat, and it's not, you remember on the playground, the rubber, it just was hot.
Right, absolutely. And that's, you don't want that. You want the mulch to
you're going to destroy the soil.
Right. You want the mulch to help build your soil in a way. You want it to be there to protect the roots of your plants, to retain moisture, and to suppress weeds a little bit. And rubber mulch will definitely suppress the weeds, but it's not going to help build your soil or retain the moisture.
And we'll end on a positive note, being leaves. Now, not all leaves can go in the garden. There is a couple of categories of leaves that are not good, but your traditional maple, oak, elm, large leaves shredded so they don't compact and prevent water penetration to the soil. But any leaves, we would stockpile leaves. People stockpile leaves and use them throughout the growing season. It works very well. Again, you can shred them. They're going to break down quicker. If you have like just a regular maple leaf, you're not going to have to worry about it compacting or preventing moisture from getting to the soil. Now, if you have giant oak leaves, you might want to break them up type of thing. But we've used leaves for decades, and they're free. And we've dug them out of the street, and they work phenomenal. And if you apply them over the beds in the fall, 2-3 foot high, we've done that. You can see videos on our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. By June and July, you can't tell we did anything because it's broke down and fed the soil, and it's a living mulch that we have to supplement it, grass clippings or shredded paper at that point. But it works really well, and it's free.
Absolutely. So you want to keep the leaves in mind, and they are very helpful. So when you think about mulch, you want to think about where you're putting it, what your end goal is, and where it's coming from, and maybe what your budget is.
Right. Yeah. And with anything in the garden, anything in life, plan it out. The fewest moves for the biggest return is the best method of madness on that. Well, another madness that many people have is they buy products, meat and seasonings that aren't any good. Too hot, too spicy. They don't know where it came from. Well, Walton's Inc. has that problem solved for you.
Yeah, Walton's Inc. You can get all the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards.
That you'll like.
Yeah, do you want to make snack sticks that people actually like? Walton's created meatgistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. They have meatgistics.com to help educate people on the hows and whys of meat processing, as well as a community of over almost 15,000 users who will help give their opinion and guidance on meat processing issues. You can find all this information at waltonsinc.com or meatgistics.com. You have everything from meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's is everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50 to save 10% of orders are $50 or more and get free shipping.
When we come back, hang around because I've got some things to say about this, and we've got evidence to prove some of the things that I need to say. Are eggshells really worth the time in putting in your garden for your compost, for your tomatoes, and everything in between? You're listening to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use code 10TG22 to receive 10% off your order at jungseed.com. That code again is 10TG22.
Chip Drop is a website. You can sign up for free wood chip mulch delivery right to your door for free. Chip Drop connects homeowners and gardeners with tree services who are trying to get rid of their wood chips. You can also sign up to get free logs and firewood. Go to chipdrop.com to learn more and sign up for a free account. It's a struggle to find fruit that isn't a disappointment or a waste of money, especially peaches at the grocery store. You bring them home, they turn mealy and gross. Well, Tree Ripe Fruit Company has the answer. They deliver fruit straight from the farm, obsessed with quality, so you can actually experience the joy of a great tasting fruit. Love Georgia peaches? Tree Ripe delivers the best peaches you'll ever eat directly from the farm within days of being picked. Peach season starts June 15th and goes through August 4th. In July, they also deliver Michigan blueberries. You can find them at over 400 Peach Stops events throughout the Midwest or have fruit delivered directly to your home. All the event details and ordering information can be found at their website, tree-ripe.com. An extra bonus for you listeners, get 10% off your first purchase when you order online only, tree-ripe.com, by using coupon code HOLLY10, HOLLY10.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online. Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at dripworks.com.
Deer Defeat is an all-natural repellent to keep deer, rabbits, and groundhogs away from your precious plants. Deer Defeat protects your plants day and night, dries clear, and odorless. It will not clog your sprayer. Deer Defeat works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Safe, effective, and works on rabbits. Money-back guarantee. To purchase, go to deerdefeat.com and use code RADIO to save 10% on your order. Deer Defeat. It can't be beat. Brought to you by Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardens, farms, landscaping, and more. Visit BlueRibbonOrganics.com or call 262-497-8539 to find their products nearest you. The Water Hoop is a portable water sprinkler system that allows you to target water evenly around the root ball of your tree or bush. Conforms to various shapes for your watering needs. The Water Hoop reduces runoff and saves money. Visit waterhoop.com.
Are you tired of mixing and matching soil amendments to give your garden what it needs to flourish? Try Climate Guard, the nutritionally complete all-in-one organic fertilizer made with ethically derived NPK, beneficial bacteria, crop-boosting fungi, humic acid, and silica. Climate Guard uses cutting-edge microbiology and ethically derived plant nutrition to produce the same results as conventional fertilizers without the negative environmental impacts. Each Climate Guard pellet is infused with a high-performance blend of living organisms that will continue building a rich ecosystem in your soil long after application. Available in 7.5 and 15-pound bags, Climate Guard is delivered directly to your door and available for order at shopjohnnyAppleseed.com. That's shopjohnnyAppleseed.com.
Thanks for listening to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Pro Plugger, Chip Drop, Bellbuster, Johnny Appleseed, Ivy Organic, Milkweed Balm, Walton's Incorporated, Bloomin' Easy Plants, Jung Seeds. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today. Watering, we talked about it with the mulch in the segment 1 there, but also, Holly, Tree Diaper makes it easy for you.
Yeah, Tree Diaper is a revolutionary watering system that slowly releases water around the base of any tree or plant as the soil dries. The Tree Diaper is filled with water from rain when you water and slowly releases water over 3 weeks. No more overwatering or underwatering with the Tree Diaper. Every time it rains, Tree Diaper recharges. No pipes, hoses, or electricity needed. You can water your plants and trees whether they're down by the house, down the road, or in the back 40.
Anywhere.
Also works under mulch. Whether you're a first-time gardener or advanced, Tree Diaper will improve the way you water your plants. Made in the USA, you can find all the sizes they have available at treediaper.com.
All right. Well, let's get into this segment here, Holly. Our eggshells, really good for the garden, worth putting in the garden. You see this on social media from February until September. People with giant jars of eggshells that they've dried or crushed or pulverized to a powder. And, you know, every time somebody puts a picture up of a blossom end rot, it's, add Tums, add powdered milk, add eggshells to the hole at the time of planting for your tomatoes, and that will fix the problem. First of all, side note, blossom end rot is a lack of available calcium, not no calcium. You got to water the plants. and that will greatly reduce the opportunity for blossom end rot to develop, which is the blackening portions of the bottom of the fruit prior to harvest. That's the side note. But eggshells, put eggshells in the garden. It's the greatest thing in the world. Don't buy fertilizer, just use eggshells. Well, we got some information to share with you.
Yes, so eggshells actually do contain calcium. That's not incorrect. But what happens is that the calcium doesn't necessarily release into your plants as readily as you think it does. Even if you break them up, pulverize them, it's not going to be a true solution, especially if you're just taking, maybe a week's worth of eggshells or something and doing that. It would have to be a higher amount. They can provide up to, there's about 5% of organic matter in those eggshells, but that is part of that soft inner white skin.
Not the shell itself.
Right.
And if you just take the eggshell, crush it in your hand, throw it in the hole at the time of planting your tomatoes or eggplants or peppers, how long does it take for that eggshell that you've crushed in your hand to break down to even a minute usable form, Holly?
That would be anywhere from 1 year to 3 years.
So putting the eggshell at the hole at the time of planting your tomatoes, if you're planning to use that place in 3 years from now, you might maybe see a little bit possible benefit from that eggshell in 3 years.
Right. And it's not going to increase the calcium in your soil exponentially.
It's just adding organic material to the garden. Now, we are by no means saying those of you who are cringing or yelling at your radio or podcast device who have large quantities of eggshells that you're storing up to use in the garden, don't throw them in the garbage. It's still good to put them in the compost pile or in the garden. We're not saying that. What we're saying is the myths that, this is the fix-all, the end-all, use the eggshells and you'll never have a problem, as it is portrayed in many social media posts, is wrong.
Right. And that is something to keep in mind. There's a lot, especially as there's more and more social media, more and more, cute little fun videos.
Mr. and Mrs. Know-It-Alls.
Mr. and Mrs. Know-It-Alls.
Which we do not claim to do that. We do not claim to know everything. We were bringing you information so you were aware of what you may not know.
And when we make mistakes, when we're wrong, we do own up to that. So you have a lot of access to information, whether it's good information or bad information is what is important. So you want to always kind of look into these things. You can, if you don't know a good resource, you can try your university extension. They will be able to provide you with information, and you want to keep that in mind. Just because, you're scrolling through your social media and a cute little video pops up and it says the eggshells are the key to save your garden completely. You just put all the eggshells in your soil and you won't have any garden problems again. It's not always true.
And as we learned from our guest last week, Teresa Rooney, people will say, well, put the eggshells around, crumple them up, and put them around your tomatoes or your peppers, your eggplants, because to protect them from the slugs. As Teresa stated last week, slugs and snails have a tremendous amount of slime that comes out of them, that oozes out to allow them to be mobile across any surface. They immerse so much of that slime. Eggshells doesn't bother either one of them. They just slide right over top of them. Now, you might say, well, it worked for me. Well, that's great. I'm just telling you from her, and then from what information we have now found on that, it works. I guess it doesn't work more than it works, is what I'm saying, because the slugs are figuring out ways in order to get to where they need to go. The snail's the same thing. A few eggshells around the base of a plant, unless it's mounded up inches, they're going to just glide right over top of it.
Right. And a lot of times when people have problems with slugs, they typically could just find the slugs and get rid of them or put them in the driveway or something, and the birds will come and get them. It's not usually a large problem of tons of slugs.
No, but there are times in which that does occur, and then there are particular products that one can use in order to get everything back into check.
Right. And
so the eggshell, we hate to burst your bubble on this because we are going to get feedback on this about how it worked great for me, and I've done it for 37 years, and my grandparents have done it for 118 years, and they've never had a bad garden. That's great, wonderful. We're just telling you what science has proven. We go to one of the predominant Mythbuster garden sites in North America where they do extensive tests and studies on multiple different topics in order to find out, is these practices worth the effort because of a beneficial scientific backing, or is it just a hit and miss and go take a chance? What is that website, Holly?
gardenmyths.com.
Well, that's pretty easy to remember, gardenmyths.com. And it's not just the eggshells. They have dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of studies in which they have done themselves. And this is a legitimate organization that helps us gardeners.
Yeah, and I just want to mention they do talk quite a bit about blossom end rot, about how it is the lack of calcium being accessed by the plants. And that is if you
not in the soil,
right? Not in the soil. So even if you just add eggshells, it's not necessarily going to help you. It's watering to release that calcium into the plant.
Well, another thing in which you're going to be upset and disappointed in is if you didn't take care and prepare yourself as spring has sprung and summer is now here, is those Japanese beetles, weevils, and borers that are in your yard and ready for you to have that outdoor activity so they can invite themselves.
Absolutely. With spring, we're right at spring here and summer, and you want to keep that in mind. And what better way to prevent those pests from destroying your garden than by controlling them while they are larvae? Grub Gone is an easy to apply granular product that can be spread on your turf to successfully control grub invaders. Developed by Phylum Bioproducts from a naturally occurring bacteria, Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT product that specifically targets only scarab pests and is safe to use around bees and other beneficial insects.
So if you've got those Japanese beetles already flying around your yard, Beetle Gone is the answer. It's an organic water dispersible powder that can be sprayed directly on your edible plants, right on them. Find out more about Grub Gone and Beetle Gone at phyllumbioproducts.com. That's PHYLLOM bioproducts.com. And Holly, they have a coupon code for those who want to save a little bit of money whenever they purchase, and that is
Garden Talk 10 to save 10% off your orders at phyllumbioproducts.com.
Well, when we come back, author Meg Cowden will be with us. You're listening to the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
This week's garden tip is sponsored by the amazing Dr. Zymes. Eliminate and prevent garden pests with their 100% all-natural, all-in-one insecticide and fungicide. Experience powerful natural protection from insects, fungus, mold, and mildew. Try a free sample. Visit drzymes.com/garden talk. Summer is the time where aphids will attack your vegetables. A simple way to eliminate them is by spraying them with the amazing Dr. Zymes Eliminator at a rate of 1 ounce per quart of warm water. When sprayed on soft-bodied insects, it kills them. Cover the plant top and under the leaves. Spray on a cloudy day. Dr. Zymes is OMRI listed, safe up to the day of harvest, and doesn't leave a residue. That helpful garden tip was sponsored by the amazing Dr. Zymes. Eliminate and prevent garden pests with their 100% all-natural, all-in-one insecticide and fungicide. Experience powerful natural protection from insects, fungus, mold, and mildew. Try a free sample. Visit drzymes.com/garden talk. We know that you appreciate the value of a beautifully landscaped yard, but tackling such a project yourself can seem way too complicated, right? Bloomin' Easy Plants are the answer. Their plants are low maintenance and offer exceptional beauty and color for your yard. Plus, they offer free seasonal care reminders with simple how-to videos tailored to the plants that you choose. With Bloomin' Easy on your side, creating the yard that you've always wanted becomes as easy as plant, water, and relax. Check them out at your local garden center or by visiting bloomineasyplants.com.
A non-selective herbicide that is also USDA certified? You bet. No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. The same great company that brings you no more bugs, no more weeds. Kills weeds with no harsh chemicals, no glyphosate. No More Weeds is a commercial-grade vinegar base with a proprietary sticking agent. Great around pools, decks, patios, etc. Visit natgreenproducts.com, enter promo code WEEDS, WEEDS, and buy 3 1-gallon size units. Get the 4th one free.
Spring is around the corner, folks, and Algae Men reminds you that this year, when it's time for spring cleaning, don't forget about the outside of your house. Algae Men is southeastern Wisconsin's go-to for exterior cleaning, including roofs, siding, decks, and concrete. So if you spot ugly black stains or green splotchy stuff on your home, let Algae Men get rid of it for you. We can restore the area back to its original look, not only in a timely manner, but also at an affordable cost. For a free estimate, visit us today at algaemen.com. Algae Men, we clean areas that you don't want to.
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you with the harvest that you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com and use coupon code RADIO22 to save 15% off your order. That's rootmaker.com. Chapin has the tools you need to water, feed, and protect your garden. We make equipment for lawn and garden care, and we are always innovating to help make your next growing season a success. Our newest products are the 5010 Rose Duster, watering tools including hose nozzles, sprinklers, and timers, the Mixes on Exit Backpack Sprayer that mixes concentrate as you spray. You can find all products at www.chapinmfg.com, major online retailers, home improvement stores, and hardware stores near you. Thanks for listening to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Rootmaker, Dripworks, Pomona Universal Pectin, Phylum Bioproducts, Tree Diaper, Chapin Manufacturing Incorporated, Deer Defeat, Water Hoop. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Moments away, Meg Cowden. But first, Simple Grow, a product in which will help your plants grow better.
Are you worried about your plant growth? Provide your plants with what they need to grow to their potential. Simple Grow. They offer 100% organic worm castings at simplegrow.com. Unlike other worm casting products, when you order from Simple Grow, you're getting 100% worm castings, not filler plus worm castings. You can promote ideal soil structure and aeration with Simple Grow all-natural and odor-free worm castings. There's only one ingredient, worm castings. No chemicals or additives will seep into your food, and it doesn't smell like other fertilizers. You can find for indoor and outdoor use by the bag, bundle, ton, or truckload. Check out what they have with Simple Grow 100% worm castings at simplegrow.com.
Well, Holly, let's go to the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods, and bring in our guest for this week.
Meg Cowden is a passionate home gardener, gardening consultant, speaker, and author of her new book, Plant, Grow, Harvest, Repeat. Welcome to the program, Meg.
Hi, Holly. Hi, Joey. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to join us, not only educating Holly and myself, but all of our listeners across the country. We thank you for that.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Of course, as fellow enthusiastic gardeners, what better thing to do than to share our love and passion together?
Absolutely. Now, you grow almost all of your vegetables for your family in in Minnesota, Zone 4A. Now, we have gardeners all over the country. What's best season extenders and tips that you can offer? I know we're kind of getting in the warmer months, but we're always thinking about how long can we extend this thing out. So what are some of your tricks to lengthen the fall growing season?
Yeah, I'd say, we are heading into the height of planting our summer gardens, but don't just think summer, really think beyond that first frost. So right now I'm seeding things for my late fall garden, like I'm seeding fall celery and Brussels sprouts. And very soon, in early June, I will be seeding all of my fall cabbages and things like that. And so really be creative about finding ways in your summer garden to kind of refresh it and renew it. I always save space in my garden for my fall brassicas, kind of my long season cabbages. I don't plant anything there right now. So if you really want a stellar fall garden, don't plant your entire garden between, at the very beginning of the growing season. Definitely allocate space for a fall garden.
Now, you're not planting anything in that particular area. Are you doing anything special with the soil, or are you just letting it stay fallow until you're ready to plant your fall there?
That's a great question. I cover crop with buckwheat, which is super fast to mature. So where I want to have my fall brassicas that go in the ground a little after 4th of July, I always cover crop it so that it's both to cover the soil and build soil, but it's also to prevent me from being a little generous with the packets of seeds.
Right.
It's just to give me a kind of a bumper to bump up against there so I don't overplant that area.
And many of our radio stations are in the colder areas of the United States, but we've got to figure out how to grow a lot of stuff in a very short period of time. Those who are in the South that listen to us, you guys kind of have, year-round gardening, and we don't know what that means up here in the North.
It's interesting you say that, Joey, because I've talked to people. I've done a lot of podcasts with the launching of my book and everything. And we have daylight, and people in southern climates don't have that. So while we have a shorter growing season, I've been in the Midwest for almost 20 years now. So I'm a little partial. I think despite our shorter growing season, I actually think it's pretty fantastic what we're able to accomplish.
True. And we get a break in the winter, too. I enjoy that. I enjoy that break rather than going 365. I think that would be a little. You get burned out pretty quick in my mind. I would think.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to do it, but I tend to agree that I do love living seasonally here in a northern climate.
I absolutely agree. So speaking of northern climate, what was one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome growing in a northern climate, and how did you do so?
Yeah, so we moved here from Oregon back in 2003, and it was a zone 8, but, we didn't really grow year-round there. I would say the biggest hurdle for me, Holly, really was thinking outside of the frost-free growing season. And so for the first, 5 years of our career or more, our gardening career, we really focused on the very traditional vegetables that really enjoyed frost-free, really warm soils. So it wasn't really until I got enough years of experience under my belt and really felt comfortable growing from seed, then we started thinking about expanding the growing season. So it was a very slow process, but that to me was probably the largest key to unlocking the fact that, yes, let's celebrate everything that we can grow in a colder climate.
Okay, that's a really good point. So your newest book here, Plant, Grow, Harvest, Repeat, came out very recently. What is something in the book you can tell us about that will encourage our listeners to check it out?
Yeah, so my book is all about succession planting, and I look at it from the lens of landscapes. And so really looking at here in the Midwest, we have prairies as I think a very wonderful instructional guide for us to really consider what it means for something to be in season and what things look like across the seasons. So a prairie has different flowers that are in bloom anywhere from very early in spring all the way until after a last frost. And not only that, but from one year to another, different plants are going to show up and are going to have stronger blooming periods than they did maybe in the years past or in the future. And so there's this constant kind of dynamic changing. And I really see that as a beautiful example of how we can consider our gardens. And so, for example, what kind of seeds are we looking at in March that we might want to plant in the garden? Because I do here in Zone 4, I plant seeds in March in my garden under a low tunnel. And what kind of seeds could we be planting in September, like all the way through? And it's not only just vegetables that I talk about in the book, it's also flowers. It's perennial flowers, as I had mentioned, prairies. It's native edibles, it's annual flowers, and it's also fruit. So it takes succession and helps you look at it. And really, I hope that anyone who loves reading, I put a lot of heart into the writing of the book. I love to write. And so that was a real honor to be able to pen a book. But it's an invitation. And really the take home message is that every day is really a day to plant a garden. So even if people are listening to this right now and they haven't gotten a garden in the ground yet, today is a great day to start gardening for the season. And there's so many wonderful foods you could plant at a wide variety of time throughout the growing season. And that's what I really hope the book unlocks for people, is the possibility that they can go into the garden anywhere from, March until September and plant seeds that they will be able to consume that season.
That's fantastic. So we are talking with Meg Cowden. She's a passionate author, home gardener, and more.
Now, Meg, I'm going to take the assumption there are certain people that garden for fun, for a hobby. You seem to be one that does it because it's passionate and it's important, and you are able to supplement what you grow and utilize that, and you don't have to spend money elsewhere in order to get that produce. Am I wrong or right on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, the goal when we decided to move to a little more acreage was to really see if we could feed ourselves year round. And, we do in that, we've got the canned foods and the frozen foods, but, things are getting a little tight here in May. I mean, I've got the potatoes are in the fridge and the carrots are in the fridge at this point, and so are the beets, but,
a career gardener, not a hobby gardener.
Yeah, it's really a lifestyle. And I feel like it's really a privilege to be able to choose to try and feed ourselves for as long as possible. I also personally, as someone like you guys probably too, one of my favorite things to do is to go into the grocery store and really kind of look around and see what seems to be, right now it's all mostly California grown and beyond in the Midwest here, but I can go to the store right now and see, oh yeah, they've got bok choy. Well, my bok choy is ready here in my garden now. So we really try to eat seasonally, but I also love the challenge of attempting to replicate the grocery store in my own garden so that we have as much diversity as possible any given day of the season.
Well, with that being said, what are your tips for maximizing your garden? Intercropping comes to mind when I hear maximizing. What are some of your tips in order to get the most out of the area that you have?
Yeah, yes, intercropping, interplanting, that's for sure a huge one. I also really, truly believe that, especially in colder climates, we are not starting our growing season early enough. And that very simple thing of starting our garden even 2 to 3 weeks earlier is going to open that space up earlier in the growing season when we have the height of summer and really warm soils, and give you the opportunity to reset that space. So the idea of maximizing not only within a space, but like temporally thinking about how to maximize your space across the entire growing season. And so that really helps you. In order to do that, you need to lean into the crops that do well at those times. So fast growing Asian greens and radishes and arugula and cilantro, and you return to those in the fall again. And the other thing in terms of maximizing the space is really think about your space. I really like to think about your space spatially. So in addition to like when you talk about intercropping, Joey, I also think really of you're going to have an understory and an overstory in your garden, no matter what you plant. You plant your tomatoes, they're going to become kind of the trees of that space. But before they do, the sunlight is really going to permeate the garden underneath it, the soil. And so what could you put there that could grow quickly? Or it's really about matching crops. And that, in terms of intercropping, matching crops that have different maturation rates so that they can both have just the ideal growing conditions, right? You're not going to grow radishes under a heavy shade of tomatoes. They're just not going to bulb for you, So And to me, like it's an invitation to explore and play with your seeds and play with your garden and play with your space, because the time that you spend as a gardener in your garden is as important as any book or any YouTube channel or any radio show or any book you're going to read is going to give you. Is really, like, I think you and I would probably both agree, we are here to help people get their hands in the earth and really have those experiences for themselves, because that to me is the ultimate knowledge that someone can gain.
Right. We can guide you, but until you have firsthand experience knowing what your soil or that plant does in your backyard, I can only give you so much and you can only give them so much. They have to experience and learn in their environment how that works.
Yeah, and to me, that's a joy that I would never want to steal from someone. I just get so much joy from the constant learning in the garden that I think it's just really a gift for us to kind of help people find their way there and then let them take it from there.
I absolutely agree. So speaking of joy from the garden, you and your spouse started gardening together very, very early on as a couple, and so have Joey and I. Now, did you both garden before you knew each other? Was it a new experience for either of you? And is there something you guys do to keep the garden passion going, or is it just a natural passion for you both?
Yeah, we both had parents who gardened. And so, I mean, we came to it by having some experience. I grew flowers in pots because my mother always grew flowers. And so we had a little bit of experience. But when we started dating our senior year in college, the first thing we grew together was tomatoes in 5-gallon Homer buckets. I mean, that was it. That was how it started. Just 5 tomato plants. We grew them from seeds, grew them under a fluorescent light with some cinder blocks on the kitchen floor, real simple setup. And it's just grown from there. And it's such a huge part of our relationship and such a continued shared passion. And we've had this dream of having a garden of this size really since before we were engaged. We went to a wedding that spring of college friends, and I still remember seeing they had a beautiful kitchen garden at this place in Oregon, and we were just like, oh, we want a garden like this someday. And it took us 25 years, but we got there. You
grew tomatoes in your dorm room or in college. Some people decide to grow other things. You went the route of tomatoes, so proud of you.
We kept it legal, yes.
Well, how can our listeners find out more about you, and how can they get your book?
Yeah, so my social media handle is Seed to Fork, and I have a website, seedtofork.com. Those are the best ways to find me. I newly launched a gardening guild, so a subscription-based gardening club on my website this spring, kind of coinciding with the book and kind of a shift in how I'm offering my expertise. And so that is the Modern Garden Guild. You can find out about that at seedtofork.com. My book is available everywhere books are sold. I highly encourage people to support their independent bookstores. The Kindle version has been going on sale quite a bit on Amazon. I've seen it on sale a couple of times for like $4, which is a huge deal. So look out for that. Amazon has a great not selection, but quantity of books. My book went into a second printing just a few days after it published in March. So if you can't find the book at an independent bookstore right now, support Amazon, I guess, because they've got a pretty good stash of the book until the second printing comes into the States here sometime in the summer.
Well, Meg, we greatly appreciate the time you've offered us and the education you provided for Holly and myself and all of our listeners. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great growing season. Take care.
Thank you.
And when we come back, it's your garden questions, our garden answers. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Japanese beetles show up in summer for a feeding frenzy in your garden, and they are the worst party guest. feeding on leaves, then laying eggs in your lawn for next year. Japanese beetles can decimate your plants and trees. Protect your plants with Japanese beetle traps from Rescue. New this year, Rescue has refill lures to use the same trap again the next year. Made in the USA by the makers of the popular Rescue Fly and Yellow Jacket traps. Learn more at rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com. Protect your plants from damage with the 3-in-1 Plant Guard and Special Blend Fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com. Use promo code RADIO10 to save 10% off your order. Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use code 10TG22 to receive 10% off your order at jungseed.com. That code again is 10TG22.
Chip Drop is a website you can sign up for free wood chip mulch delivery right to your door for free. Chip Drop connects homeowners and gardeners with tree services who are trying to get rid of their wood chips. You can also sign up to get free logs and firewood. Go to chipdrop.com to learn more and sign up for a free account. 90% of the world's flowering plants require pollination to reproduce. Without pollinators, we humans would not survive. Here at Finding Nectar, a Denver suburb-based nursery providing flowering plants that are bee, butterfly, moth, and bat friendly. We are striving to get more pollinators into the backyards of Colorado. Together, we can increase the pollinating population one plant at a time. Affordable plants. Check all the plants out at 1550 Highway 72 in Arvada and at findingnectar.com. If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts. Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com. Take the guesswork out of composting with hot bin composting. Quickly break down food scraps within 30 to 90 days. Find out more at hotbincomposting.com. A little bit of summer is what the whole year's all about. Barbecues, parties with friends. The fun is endless, unless the sun or thunderstorms have damaged your outdoor furniture. Keep it looking brand new with custom protective covers from coversandall.com. They have fabric choices for days that are 100% waterproof, coated to protect against sun, and can be custom designed for any size or shape, and placing or removing them. Easy peasy. Visit coversandall.com and use code GARDEN25 at checkout to save 25% on your purchase. Thanks for listening to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Tree Ripe, Covers and All, Ironwood Tool Company, Timber Pro Coatings, Blue Ribbon Organics, Natural Green Products, Algae Men, Dr. Zyme, Happy Leaf LED, Rescue, Big Tool Rack, Hot Bin Composting, Proclamation Goods. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. Time for your questions, our answers. If you want to partake in that activity, you can send your questions on over via email. GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com. GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to put your fingers in your phone and give us a call, you can do that on the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods. And that number, 1-800-927-SHOW. Toll free, coast to coast, 1-800-927-7469.
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set is a 12-inch skillet and a stock pot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, the skillet and stock pot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's 2 pans with the versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, then Proclamation Goods is for you. Supply is limited, so order yours now at proclamationgoods.com.
All right, let's go to the hotline. Mike from the Pittsburgh area, listening to us on WMBS 590 AM and FM 101.1, has a question about his tomatoes.
Hey, this is Mike calling from southwestern Pennsylvania. I just want to know if it's a good idea to put grass clippings around the base of my tomato plants. Now, I listen to you guys every Saturday morning on WMBS Uniontown. Thank you.
Okay, great. So with that being said, you can use grass clippings around those tomato plants. You can use,
however,
you want them to be dry, and then you want to make sure that they are not full of weed seeds. And then you also want to make sure that you haven't sprayed that grass or paid somebody to spray that grass with a persistent herbicide, which is typically a 2,4-D broadleaf spray herbicide, because that can then seep into your soil and kill your tomatoes.
All right, next question is, first of all, it's so nice to hear you back on the radio. I have, you helped me last year. I have two questions for you. I listened to you in the car, so I can't take notes. Well, that's good. Glad you don't try to do that. She listens to us on WAAM 1600 AM and 92.7 FM out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. One is, I have a terrible amount of skunks tearing up my lawn. Supposedly there's no grubs to be found before July, and treatment is not recommended until then here in Ann Arbor. Any advice? That's question number one.
Sure. So skunks will tear up your yard looking for grubs. That's absolutely correct. You can use something called Grub Gone by Phylum Bioproducts, PHYLLOM Bioproducts, and then you can use code Garden Talk 10 to save 10% off your order, and that will help treat the grub larvae. But also you can use a solution. You'd have to look it up for castor oil and some soapy water, and when you spray that around, it really deters the skunks. Or you can also use motion sensor lights, which may or may not be favorable to you
or allowed,
or your neighbors, or allowed. But it is an option because skunks do scare a little bit easily. All
righty, and when they scare, they spray. Next, the second part of her question is my grandmother's piñas. Piñas. I'm lucky to have them, and I have a ton of ants on them. How do I get the ants off them before I can bring them in and create a bouquet with them? What advice do you have for me on that? I'd say it wrong.
Peonies.
Yeah, peonies. Yeah.
So what you can do is you can harvest them early in the morning or dusk where there might be some dew or moisture on them, and then you would just simply shake them, or you can flip them over, tap the end of the stem after you've harvested them, and usually the ants will shake off. If you are concerned about the ants beyond that, you can also shake them and then hang them somewhere outside for a little bit. Usually the ants will drop off because they're not able to really go anywhere. So those are two options for you.
Or if you really want to make a terrible mess, you put all the flowers down on the concrete and put some honey beside them, and all the ants are going to go to the honey or the sugar.
Yeah.
I know that's terrible advice.
It's terrible
advice.
Yeah,
terrible. All right. Any tips on getting my corn to stand up after a windstorm?
Will you take that away, Joey?
There is some information in which the corn plant will actually kind of right itself up if it's not bent over too far. We see this happen many times in backyard gardens and agricultural fields where a windstorm will come in and lay the corn virtually flat on the ground, and at that point it is irreversible. It's not going to happen. If it's only leaning over, let's say, a 45-degree angle, if in the backyard sweet corn patch, yeah, it's going to kind of grow back vertical, straighten up, but it's not recommended for you to go in there and start pushing on the plant or tying the plant out, because you're going to break those roots, and it can damage the stem and the stalk of that plant. So if it's just slightly 45, it'll straighten back up to some degree. If it's flat on the ground, there's not a whole lot of hope for you, because you need, no matter what stage that corn is in, if it is past the tasseling and fertilization stage of the ear, then you might be able to get something out of it. But if it hasn't even tasseled yet, which is required for the hairs on the ears that will pollinate the kernels and make all the ear corn, then there's not much hope for you, because you can't stack it back up. You can't bend it back up. So kind of answered it, kind of didn't. So with that being said, we are out of time, and we thank you for yours. Did you miss any portion of the program today or would like to revisit it? Well, you can do that. You can send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we'll send you a link to the program. Or if you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Season 6 tab at the top of the page, and you can catch up on all past shows and seasons. Tune in next week to the program. We're going to go over what is eating my leaves and plants in the garden. Suggested topic from a listener, as well as suggested topic from a listener. Garden soil, how to deal with it. What do I got? What might you have, and how to deal with that? Our guest is co-host of Garden America, one of 3 hosts of that program, heard on Biz Talk Radio each week. Tiger Pellavox will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.